All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, what a really polite jazz crowd. Very cool. Now, the jazz crowds are one of two things. They're very mature and sophisticated like you, or they're just rowdy beyond belief. So I think we're fine with a little bit of both. Welcome to our spring jazz concert, celebrating a fantastic year of jazz, not just here at Briar, but also we have our Eagle Ridge friends. Let's welcome the Eagle Ridge Jazz Band tonight. A big thank you to Ms. Smith and Mr. Shepard for being here tonight and bringing their great kids. And I got to work with them a little earlier this year, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later on. But it's been a really fantastic year. One of the reasons that we have two great jazz bands at Briar is that since the day I opened the school, 2005, they had a great jazz program. I remember meeting the director that had been there for years, and they had a great jazz program. So I really applaud Ms. Smith and Mr. Shepard, not just keeping that going, but making it even better. This is Briar Jazz Band 2. Very proud to say we have over 75 students involved in our two great jazz bands. And it's fantastic. Both of our bands this year, and we're going to applaud for them now because I've chatted in one kid's right. Both of our jazz bands at assessment received straight superiors, and at Chantilly, they also received superiors. Let's give both of our jazz bands a big hand. And I believe our Eagle Ridge bands got superiors at our LCPS assessment, so let's give them a hand for this superior. Jazz is one of the most important teaching things that I've been blessed to do in my career. This year is 39. Next year will be year 40 for me in high school band. What is so great about jazz, and any school that does this knows this, if they don't do it, they don't get it. But marching band teaches you a really cool, outdoor element, exciting. You're connecting with the crowd. There's just, the movement aspect. It's actually a musical sport. And then concert band and symphonic groups, they have this sophisticated thing, the literature we read, increases the students' knowledge of all that kind of stuff by levels. But jazz is very unique because it's the only type of music that has every type of style you can imagine, everything you can imagine about different types of music, whether it's from South America, European, across the ocean, and of course the United States, where jazz is the most unique and most famous original art form that we created here in America. And it teaches the history of our country. You follow the history of jazz, it's the history of the country. And I think the most important thing, the creativity. You're going to hear students tonight, both of our jazz bands, play creative, improvised solos that they have made themselves right on the spot. So that, to me, that's the most special thing. So this is Jazz Band 2. We are doing 3 great songs. We're going to start off with Charles Mingus's Nostalgia in Times Square. Of course, Charles Mingus was very innovative bass player that just kind of said, let's just remove all the bar lines, let's remove all the boundaries, and let's let jazz be free. This is not quite one of his more wild compositions, but this is the song that he was inspired when he was in New York City in Times Square. It's called Nostalgia in Times Square. is a really unique setup. A lot of really large jazz bands. By the way, we are one of the larger jazz bands in the county. Stonebridge also has a very fine jazz program. Mr. Keller does a great job. He's got a second jazz band this year that is almost as big as us, almost the same size, and he does a great job. But they stack their band much in a more thick thing. This is kind of like, I call this the flying V. Now let's see who is old, as I'm asking several times tonight, who is as old and as cool as I am and remember the Tonight Show band. With Johnny Carson. Now, I like the Jay Leno one too, with Branford Marcellus leading, but the original Johnny Carson band, led by Doc Severinsen, had like this V setup, and they put the rhythm section in the middle. So that's kind of what we do, and I started doing that about 14 years ago, and the judges really like it because you get a little more clarity with woodwinds in front, trumpets bouncing that, the low brass here, and then the rhythm section coming through the center. So we call this the flying V. I'm very, very happy with it, and they do a great job. The next song is going to be a really famous melody. Once again, just trying to get these guys to understand. This is something that was featured prominently in the classic movie When Harry Met Sally. How many of you have ever seen that movie? See? I asked this guy, is it just Nitty? We have like one person. So now it is a little mature, but you guys are in high school now. But anyway, Harry Connick Jr., amazing jazz piano player from New Orleans, who now is world famous, has done everything. He did the whole soundtrack, and his version of It Had to Be You went on to be like a top 40 hit. It was so popular. But this is a really nice version. It's going to feature several of our trumpet players. It Had to Be You. I think I saw our great administrator, Dr. Sneed. I think Dr. Sneed here. I saw him walk in a few minutes ago. We have there he is. Give Dr. Sneed a big hand. He's our fine he was the very rare administrator that was a lifetime musician, a saxophone player, and was a band director for many years, and he escaped from band directing to become an administrator. I'm still very much not on track. So it's going to track in a great way. But I know it's wonderful to have you. It's a wonderful support of our program. The final song we're going to do, if you're looking at your program, you didn't notice, we lost two jazz legends this year. One of them a little more recent as far as their accomplishments, but our November concert was dedicated to the great Chuck Mangione. And quite honestly, I'm not sure that I am a band director, a lifetime musician without the music of the Tonight Show big band, Chuck Mangione, Maynard Ferguson, Bill Watrous, Buddy Rich, Duke Ellington, Count Basie. These are people that made me want to do what I'm doing and have continued to do for almost 40 years now. So we dedicated our concert to a lot of Mangione music in November. Well, much earlier in this year, we lost Gordon Goodwin. And for those of you not familiar with his work, you actually all are. Has anyone ever seen the Pixar movie, The Incredibles? That music is Gordon Goodwin's Big Fat Band, Big Fat P-H-A-T band. And he combined the score with Michael Giacchino, the composer, and they created this unique jazz sound with the best musicians on the planet, a lot of them from LA. And an example, Wayne Bergeron, the lead trumpet player, is considered to be the best lead trumpet player in the world. So that incredible sound was really amazing. So his Big Fat Band got started, and for the last 25 years, they have been pretty much the best playing big band on the planet. I'll never forget buying their first album, Swinging Through the Front Fences, and I couldn't believe how great it was. Well, we're doing, with our two jazz bands, one song from each, one from two of his different albums. This is one of his most famous, called the Jazz Police. So kind of dedicating this spring concert, and also our year, because both of our bands kind of play a Gordon Goodwin song. So when you see The Incredibles, when you're listening to that, the movie soundtrack, just think of this great musician. He sadly died of cancer a couple of months ago. But in fact, Jazz Band 1 is doing one of his final compositions he did before he passed away. So this, however, is probably one of his 2 or 3 most famous. It's called the Jazz Police, and it'll feature once again a bunch of our great solos. All right, here we go. All right, have fun with it. Make it great. One last performance. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Briar with Jazz Peters in one more big game. Now, I'm going to be giving instructions to both bands. We got to change our set. So,
everyone on stage, you know what we got to do? Can we push that drum set hand in back? Now put it back to going on with it back because you're going to need it for Igor at the end. Okay. But we're changing, going to jazz 1. Okay, that's going to be the blue mark. Okay? Okay. Flutes and harmonics, and you're going to take it down. Okay, let's go. Everybody help out. Let's go.
Jazz 1, let's go. If you'll give us just a moment, then reset our stage.
Let's go. Help out. Let's go. Everyone help. Let's go. How many? If you can't set your instruments down, truck it. Set your